Another day, another dollar. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. And there is always a solution to every problem. Say these things to yourself every day. In this video, I want to touch on something that I've said in the past, which is that you can buy a house for free. Now, if you listen to any of my previous videos, you would know roughly how to buy a house for little to no money of your own credit. And you also know that if you work the numbers, there is a possibility for you to get the house free. Mind you, this is not a house that you live in. This is a buy-to-let house that you rent out to tenants. But before we start, there is something that I would like you guys to do. It helps to motivate, and it also helps the algorithm get the video to people like yourself. It's all you have to do is press the like button, which is located right here. Under this, where my finger is, you will see the description tab, and then you will see a thumbs up button. Press that for me. It will help with the algorithm. Also, if you like this content and you like these videos, as part of a motivation for me to continue, press the subscribe button. Now, I'm fully well aware that there are people who learn differently. So some of you would have picked up the information from the last videos, and some of you need to see it physically, and some of you need to put it in practice. In this video, I'm going to give you details of how to obtain a house, a buy-to-let house, virtually free of charge. I say virtually because there is some money involved and there will be payments involved. But in terms of your return on investment, you are able to get the whole investment back if you work the numbers correctly. Okay. So for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to use simple numbers. Okay? Simple numbers like 10, 100, 150, 20. Feel free to save this video or write this down. Remember, if you write things down, you remember more. Okay? So, in order for you to buy a house absolutely free, meaning by the end of the deal, you would have had all your initial investment money back. This is how you do it. Number one, you have to look for a distressed property. Distressed property could be a repossession, and a repossession could be for many reasons. It could be for divorce or death, right? If you can find repossession companies before they go to auction, you're winning. If you can't find repossessions before they go to auction, or you do find a repossession company but they don't sell to the general public, go to those auctions. The whole point is to make sure that the house that you buy, which will need renovation most of the time, is well below market value. These properties exist today. There are plenty of people getting divorced, and unfortunately every year there's hundreds of thousands of deaths. So there are people out there who are sharing inheritance, or those who haven't bought the home, their homes are now free, or empty. Those who don't have family, the homes are empty and derelict, right? So you need to do your research. Get on the old Google and Google these things. These things are there. The companies are there trying to make money. You have to remember, as their customer, You have every right to inquire about everything they have on their system, right? In order for you to find the right deal for yourself. You should not be afraid. Be confident. As a buyer, they want to talk to you. And it's your responsibility to ask as many questions as possible. So, repossessions, distressed properties should be your go-to if you want to do this free thing. Let's say you have found this distressed property and you want to make an offer. Two things you need to do prior to making the offer. The first thing you need to do is find out how much the prices of the houses are in that area, which gives you a ballpoint mark of what you're working with in terms of when you finish renovating, the kind of price you'll be looking at for your own property. The second thing, and very most importantly, is you need to take someone with you that knows about houses. Preferably the person who's going to be working on your house, to let you know, okay, this is going to cost this and this is going to cost that. Don't be fearful if you see a hole upstairs or you can see the upstairs from downstairs. All it is are planks of wood. In order to fix and renovate a house, it doesn't really cost much money, as long as you don't make it personal. If you make it personal and you try to put your dream into the house or into the investment, it will become more expensive. All you need is 4 walls, a functioning house, lights, water, electricity. That's it. You don't need to put spotlights and so on and so forth. This is buy to let, rent the mother sucker out and make your mother sucking money, right? With the two informations that you've gathered, and I'll give you an example. So let's say the house would max out at 150,000, right? And you also know it will cost 15,000 to renovate the property. In order to make the house free, what you have to do is take your 150,000, right? Minus 25% for the buy to let, which makes it 108,000. Something around there. Something around there. I think it's like 42 grand, 43 grand, something like that. So you'll have 108,000 if you do a remortgage on a 150,000 pound property. You then have to take the 15,000 away from the 108. 5 and 7, so and 7, right? So 93,000. 93,000 is what you will be left with on the property. This is the maximum you should be bidding or offering to buy the property. 93,000. Buying a property at 93,000 and then doing your renovations will bring the value back to 108, right? Once the renovation is finished and it's worth 150, when you do your refinancing, because legally in the UK, as long as you don't buy it in cash and you use a finance company, legally you're only allowed to refinance the property in a minimum of 6 months. So in 6 months, your property that is valued at 150,000, 25% will be left in there and you will be left with 108,000. Your 108,000 minus, now remember, it was 93 that you offered, but you also put 25% of that 93 to get the loan, right? So what you actually get back after the loan has been paid is not only your renovation money, but also the deposit money that you placed for that 93,000, which is usually 25%. If you're able to renovate the property and get that figure, you would not only have made your renovation money back, you would also have made your initial deposit back. But if you remember in the beginning of the video, I said you're going to be paying your credit card fees until you pay it back. If you decide to use your credit card, you're going to be paying the loan for the initial purchase of the property every month until you refinance, and that goes for the 150,000, hopefully at a better rate. You're going to be paying that out of your pocket. Tenants won't be doing that. This money is what you accumulate and say is a loss. But if you consider that the house is now worth 150,000 and you've got 25% in there, which is the 42 or 43, one of the two, right? The money that you've paid towards having the house in terms of your credit card payments and loan payments will be part of that 42. But for the fact that you did it for 150 and got 108 out, you can go again on another purchase. This is what it means to buy a house absolutely free. You will have an initial investment, you will have a loans, you will pay monthly until the tenant gets in there. You will pay monthly as long as your workers continue to work on the property. So the quicker it is for them to renovate the property, the quicker you get a tenant in there, the less it becomes a liability to you. Because remember, in Rich Dad Poor Dad, everything that takes money out of your pocket is a liability. What brings money into your pocket, that's an asset. The things that you need to watch out for. Is one, renovations on any buy-to-let is not supposed to be personal. It's not about putting the latest gadgets in there, spotlights, fish tank everywhere, and making it personal for yourself. Because tenants, like it or not, are fully aware that the property is not theirs. And they don't really care about the maintenance. The more expensive your renovation, the more money you will lose during the tenancy. So try to budget well, right? And make sure it's basics, because you don't know which tenant you can put in there, right? That's gonna go in there. Yes, you're gonna want semi-professionals or professionals, but then you may give it to the council for rent guarantee. And the council will put any and everybody in there. You don't want to put too much into the renovation. It has to be as minimal as possible, but obviously safe. So I'm going to run through that one more time. If you want to buy a house for little to no money, you need other people's money. What you have access to you are loans and credit cards. The reason why I say credit cards is because credit cards offer 0%. Loans don't do that straight off the bat. Also, you can manage it when you take the money out, right? And you only pay more when you take more, right? Not only that, you can pay it all back without penalty fees. This is why I'm saying credit card. So, other people's money, credit card, distressed properties. You have to Google repossessions, repossessions via divorce, repossessions via death, repossessions via loss of earnings, just repossessions, which will lead you to other venues like auctions, right? You have to have a good worker, a builder that can understand your vision and plan, that you want to get the most for as little as possible, right? Someone you can trust to do the job, whereas the house won't be falling apart and you're getting sued, okay? You have to make sure you find out the values of the properties in the area of the property you're buying to give you an estimation of the value of your property. So similar bedrooms, similar postcode, not more than 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from the post or zip code, to give you a rough idea of what the property might be worth. You need to calculate and factor in the 25% of your deposit for this new value. This money, the reason why you calculate it is because it stays in the house. It never comes back into your pocket until you sell the property. And if you're into real estate, you never sell a property. Once you've determined the value of the property, how much it will cost you, then you can determine how much you're willing to spend based on the figure you've got. So for example, like I said to you earlier on, it's 108,000 roughly if the house is worth 150. What you need to do is determine if you want the property at 93,000, totaling to 108 to yourself, or if you can afford bumping up the price depending on if you can see real value in this property and you can see a potential growth and you really want the deal. You can use this method to determine how much you actually really want to spend on the house. So you know, if you offered 93,000, you're virtually getting all of your money back. But if you add an extra bedroom, maybe in a year or two, the house will go up in price because it's a good area and you want to take it to 95. Notice, if you take it from 93 to 95, your 108 becomes 110, meaning your $2,000 that you out of pocket is now in your deposit. You're not really losing the money, but you don't have access to it. If you stick to this process, not only would you buy houses at the right price, every time you refinance after 6 months and get your money back, you can decide to go again after clearing your credit cards and letting all of that ease down first. Okay, so you have to take the money out. When you get the refinance, you take the money out of your account, you pay your credit card and let your credit card understand that this deal that you've done is finished. The new deal will be a new 18 months or new 12. If you do chop and change, you don't put the credit card money back, your 12 months or 18 months will be from your initial purchase of the previous property, which might end up incurring you some extra charges when the 0% balance is finished. So it's always good to completely clear your credit card so that you can do the zero balance again. In order for you to do the zero balance again, all you have to do is call them. Hey, I've used your thing and I've paid it back. I want to use it again, but I would like to start a new zero balance. Okay, sir. It will be done more often than not. Usually it's around about 18 months to 2 years. And if you follow the method, every 6 months you can buy a house. On the third property, you can clear it prior. On the second or third property, you can clear it prior to the promotion ending. And then before you take out again, you ask for another promotion. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to make the phone call. They will do it. You are their customer. They want you to take that money. So they will give you another deal. If you've noticed and you're smart, you would have realized for the entire video, I told you £150,000 property, 25% is around about 42 grand, 43 grand. It's not. It's 37,500. Now, why did I tell you 43 grand? It's because I'm a greedy mother sucker. I want all my money back. So if I go to the auction fees, which is usually about 5 to 6 grand, sometimes 7 if they're greedy, that goes into the 3750, right? Any solicitor fees, any stamp duties, anything like that, I want that money back. So I always factor that in to the 25%. I add it all the time. And then the builders, all right? So if you do it this way, the numbers will seem a bit more expensive, but you will understand the reason as you go through the process. When you buy a property from a repossession, there are fees involved. If you buy a property from an auction, there are fees involved. If you buy a property from an estate agent, there are fees involved. These fees I always calculate to get it back. You can decide to pay that yourself, but the whole topic of the video was to make it free. So if you do the calculations, as I've done the calculations, you should get all your money back. And if you're lucky enough to buy something without fees, then you have roughly 5 to 6 grand chilling that you can put on renovations just in case, right? There's always a method to the madness, and I'll give it to you raw. Yeah, there's more to just 25%. I'm not gonna sugarcoat shit. There's fees that you're gonna have to pay. If the house is more expensive, you have to add the stamp duty into that as well, right? Everything, all fees, you add it to your 25%, and then the workers, and that's the maximum bid you spend. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. The information I gave you, or I'm giving you, I want you to talk between your friends, those who you speak to on a regular basis, to see and bounce off ideas off each other. Or you can sign up to a guru, pay membership, and they'll tell you exactly what I've just told you now. They'll leave you to go and find a property, and if you can't, and you beg them, they'll find the property for you. But guess what? They're gonna ask you finder's fees. And these finder's fees is monies that you're losing. You're not gonna get that back. It's not a part of the deal. So if you have a few thousand spare, by all means, don't listen to what I've got to say. Get yourself one of these gurus and pay the membership and hear everything I've said again. Right, now, for those of you who like to see things, see people do it in order for you to be able to do it, you need to see it practically. I have a challenge for you, every single one of you that is watching this right now. We are in February 2022. If we hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of February, meaning you sharing it to people, and we hit 1,000 subscribers, the topics I spoke about in January, I'll do it physically. I'll take a few hundred and I'll change that to a few thousand. I will document the journey. I'll start from a couple of hundred and eventually buy a house. I'm gonna do it as if I'm new to this whole thing. The journey may take 6 months, maybe a year, but I need you to show me that you want me to do it. I need you to show me that you are interested. If you share this video, we get to 1,000 subscribers. I will most definitely take you on a physical journey so you can see that this is possible in 2022. I hope this video has been helpful. I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.